This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon. Hey guys, I'm here with another Brigitte video, and in this video I'm showing you how I did the base of the shield. So I went and got this acrylic sheet from, I think it was Home Depot, but I'm pretty sure you could find it at any hardware or home renovation store. And the acrylic sheet is also known as a storm window, because I think that's what they're actually used for. Anyways, I got this acrylic sheet. I don't remember the exact thickness. It wasn't super thick, but it wasn't really thin either. I guess it doesn't really matter as long as you think it can hold the weight of the foam and it's not too flimsy. Anyways, I patterned out the shape of the shield and then traced that onto the acrylic sheet using a pen, just because the paper would slide around if I tried to cut around that too much. And originally I tried to cut it with the acrylic cutter that they sold next to these acrylic sheets at Home Depot, but I couldn't get that to work. Either I just wasn't strong enough, or it wasn't meant for this thickness of acrylic sheet. So I gave up and I switched to using my Dremel. I put a cutting bit on the Dremel, and it's made for plastic. It's one that's made for plastic. I know there's one that's made for metal and there's one that's made for plastic. I chose the plastic one, obviously, because we're cutting plastic. Anyways, I took that and then started cutting out the shape of the acrylic sheet. So to start off, I thought maybe I could just cut about halfway through and then snap it off, because I heard that's what you're supposed to do. But that didn't really work out for me. I didn't ruin anything, but it wouldn't snap off either. So I ended up going back through and just cutting fully through with the Dremel bit and making a lot of noise and probably annoying my neighbors. But I got it off and the Dremel bit worked. Again, if you want any of these patterns for this or any other piece of the costume, they're all up on my store Envy or Etsy if you prefer shopping there. So now I moved on to painting. What I did here was take a bunch of sheets of paper and then I covered all of those in tape, because I wanted them to be able to peel off easier, and I felt like the paper would get stuck to this paint too much and I'd have little bits of paper just stuck to my shield. So I covered all the paper in tape and then created this hexagon pattern by making a couple hexagon shapes all together on a different sheet of paper and then tracing those out, overlapping them. I do have the hexagon pattern or stencil on the shield template. So once I had drawn out that stencil, I cut out all of the hexagon shapes using a box cutter and then taped that down onto the shield and started brushing on and dabbing on glass paint. I used light blue glass paint for the paint and applied many, many, many layers until it was blue enough for my liking. And I used glass paint specifically because I knew it would dry transparent. Originally started out by squirting the glass paint onto a spare piece of acrylic sheet and taking that and just lightly in thin coats applying that to the actual shield. But I realized that wasn't really getting me anywheres, and it was taking forever for it to get blue enough, because it was just drying really, really clear still with just a slight blue tint, and I wanted it to be more blue than that. So I switched to just dabbing or dropping like a little dot or glob of glass paint directly into each hexagon and just kind of like smearing that around the hexagon shape fully and letting it be a thicker, more globby coat, because that was drying more blue and it was going by quicker. Once everything was dry and I was happy with the color, I peeled off the stencil and then touched up any areas that needed it. I either used a small brush to apply more paint into certain spots, or if the paint had kind of smeared into the area that was covered, I used a Q-tip with some acetone to remove it. And that's it for this video. I'll be back with more videos on how I built the rest of Brigitte, as well as how I finished the shield. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys found this helpful, and yeah, stick around for future videos. Bye!